Okay, so it's time to start. My name is Renee Hobbs, and thank you so much for coming to this session on algorithmic personalization. This is a workshop, and so we're going to be working. we're going to be working together, and really we're going to be creating together. So we're going to be working, learning, and creating together. Let me share my screen with you so I can kind of show you. Let me just check and see. Does it turn out that you can actually see my screen right now? Somebody give me a verbal.
Mind over media, where's what we're seeing.
You are seeing Mind Over Media. Cool. So I'm taking you to the online learning modules for Mind Over Media so that you can, so that we can use the resources that are available here, right? The session that I'm going to run this workshop as a form of digital learning, right? And so if you go to the library here and you click on algorithmic personalization, this session includes the materials and resources for this workshop and for a little bit more. So the driving question for this session is, what do students need to know and be able to do when it comes to algorithms that personalize information, entertainment, and persuasion? Because now that's happening in all forms, and information, entertainment, and persuasion is all customized by the use of data from our own use of the internet. So what are some strategies to introduce students to think critically about the implications of algorithmic personalization? I invite you to take the course. To do that, you have to create an account, or in my case, you have an account, and you sign in. Okay, so you might want to take a minute to open up a parallel screen and do that if you're that kind of learner, or you might just prefer to watch as I model the practices that we're using today. I guess what I'd like to do is show this to you as a learner. You see, I'm looking at, we're using the PathRight learning management system, and I'm showing it to you as a learner right now. Here is
Renee,
the first, Julia.
could you make your screen full screen?
Oh,
we're seeing your whole desktop.
You're seeing my whole desktop. What's that look like? Oh, hold on. Let me try that again. That's crazy. So in other words, you're seeing my whole desktop. What you really just want to see is that. That's probably better, right?
There we go. Yep.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for fixing that for me. Okay, so I'd like to call on 3 people to ask you 3 to interpret this cartoon for me. And I'll just type what you say into the box. Let's take a look at the cartoon. My prompt question for you is, this cartoon depicts algorithmic personalization. What is happening in this picture? What is the cartoonist's main idea? I'm going to hear from 3 people. Who wants to go first? Just unmute your microphone and tell me how you would answer this question.
I'll go. I see a person with glasses drinking a specific kind of, in the first picture, drinking a specific kind of cola, and he's seeing an ad for it coming up on the screen, and he's starting to think like, oh gosh, like, where is this information? How's my hand connecting to the screen? And then in the next one, it's as if the computer is getting into his thoughts, and he thinks something and then it goes on the screen, and he doesn't understand how this information is getting from his head or his hand onto the screen.
Beautiful. That was a great start. Who wants to say more?
I'll go.
What's going on in this picture?
So we have someone who has made a purchase and then is seeing that purchase reflected as if somebody, like the computer has been following him around. And then he is said that possibly he's also seeing another image that is helping to reinforce his previous idea that, this is a conspiracy, and that, so he's feeding into the tinfoil hat. So I think that he's also could possibly be being taken advantage of when he finally sees, an image that is also reflecting, oh yeah, this is bad.
Beautiful. Thank you for elaborating on that conspiracy theory angle, but I need one more person to continue the interpretation. Who's next?
I'd like to add, if I can. So I'm thinking that he might be thinking, is my mic on? Are they listening to me?
Nice point, Ariel. Okay, I think this is a media literacy crowd, so I'll ask two more people to say more about this political. What else is there to say about this political cartoon?
Hey, Renee, it's Kristen. I saw this as his concern in the first screen where the computer is seeing the soda he's drinking in his hand, and it makes him start to worry. And then all of a sudden the next ad is that tinfoil hat to block the worry from his head.
Okay, that's fascinating. Thank you for sharing. And I'll hear one more interpretation, please.
I like to pull out to just the more cultural level that the author might be getting at, that like if you get creeped out or resist being sold the thing that you like, then you will be sold that resistance. Like the personalization and the market will adapt to sell to you whatever it is you're feeling.
Whoa.
And that it seems to happen between the two things for all of the sort of mechanical inferences that everybody else was making about the surveillance going on.
Marvelous. Thank you so much for that great observation. Here's our agenda for the next few minutes. We're gonna talk a little bit about why this topic is important to us. We're going to talk about what we love and hate about algorithmic personalization and entertainment. But then we're going to engage in an activity where we look behind the scenes at algorithmic personalization by exploring the Facebook ad library. And we're going to look at personalized advertising, and we're going to try to understand it better and more deeply. But before we go on, I just want to kind of back up a little bit, because I want to share with you what you're not going to see in this workshop, which is a real-time workshop, but what you could see in the anytime workshop. I really hate those words, synchronous and asynchronous. I think they suck. Those words are confusing. We found this summer at the Summer Institute in Digital Literacy that most people didn't understand those words, right? They didn't recognize the power of designing learning environments that include both real-time components and anytime components. So I invite you to go check out the anytime learning that I've provided here in the chat that I'm not going to show you. So here we're thinking about algorithms and entertainment. We're asking the question, how do algorithms affect your choice of TV shows and movies? And we're learning about Netflix algorithm and why it's so binge worthy. Oh, and I have to watch the ad. Sorry, I'm not going to do that, right? And we're going to wonder how algorithms make choices for you. And if you watch that video, you're going to have some vocabulary words to get familiar with, like you'll learn about image ranking, and you'll learn about metadata, and you'll learn about A/B testing, and you'll learn about autoplay, right? If you watch that video carefully, you'll learn all those words. And then you might want to learn more about the specific personalization techniques that are used by Netflix, right? And so you might watch this short Vox video, why your Netflix thumbnails don't look like mine. And then you'll try to explain what you learned in that video to somebody in your family, right? And if you continue on, you're going to get a chance to learn not just about personalized entertainment, but about personalized journalism and personalized persuasion, right? And then we'll have to ask the so what question, right? Why should we care, right? So I do hope you get a chance to explore the anytime elements of this program, because in my opinion, digital learning's real affordance is that it allows us not just to have a stream of Zoom meetings, fun as those are, but actually to engage in the reading, writing, and learning experiences that users should control themselves at a time that's convenient to them. Okay, so back to the show here. All right, so why don't we just have a little discussion on these 3 questions? Why is this topic important to you? What do you love and hate about algorithmic personalization? And is personalized content better or worse than non-personalized content? The floor is open.
I'll jump in. Key concept to media literacy: each medium has its own language, its own strengths, its own challenges, and algorithmic learning, algorithmic messaging is central to new forms of media communication. We've got to understand that.
Who's next?
I'll go. This is Wes in Oklahoma. I love aspects of algorithmic content discovery. Jared Lanier in The Social Dilemma encourages people not to ever click on a recommended video in YouTube. But I'm like, I discover really amazing things because like the more I train YouTube about what I like, you know, there is a manipulative part of it or whatever in advertising, but I mean, I discover amazing things and amazing people. So there's a real aspect of it that I love. At the same time, we were having, you know, surveillance capitalism and the surveillance state and all these other negative things.
Thanks for sharing. Who's next? Joyce.
Yeah, hi. I love it because it finds me the right shoes when I'm looking for that particular type of shoe. I hate it when it shows up when I'm teaching and people know the shoes I'm searching for. But in search, it's so complicated. And what is very disturbing for students of color especially is the bias that is baked into our search engines. And if you search for why are Black people, and you watch what fills in afterwards, if you search for I think it was in The Atlantic, there was an article about a bride, somebody searching for the word bride, and you see a Western version in a white dress and people from India who are beautiful photographs of brides don't show up because it knows that I am US centric and it's making decisions about what I want to see, and having to get out of a search engine to search the full scope of possible results is the only way I can actually see what the search engine doesn't assume I want to see.
Whoa, beautiful. Ariel.
Sorry about that. So I just wanted to continue both what Wes said and Joyce. Obviously, using search engines that are not like Google, they're search engines that do not keep in track everything, the cookies and everything like that, is really empowering students from that point. And the other thing, just in regards to the social media, but creating content in a closed environment and not having to go with it. But I think it's really important with regards to looking at the movie, The Social Dilemma, is flipping it and saying, how can we look at the positive side of all of this? And just one other comment, Renee, in regards to where we were in a previous session, and you making the comment that disruption can be violent, but this is what I'm trying to say. Disruption can be as well very positive, or all of this thing. Algorithmics, if they're used in a right way, can be extremely positive to bring us what we want, curated material that will help someone grow.
Very nice. Thank you so much for sharing. So we recognize the power of acknowledging our love-hate relationship with algorithmic personalization. We think it's a really important way to recognize that there are reasons why sometimes personalized content is better. And like Joyce says, sometimes it's worse, right? So we have a deep need to respect and appreciate the depth of nuance behind this powerful technology. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break you into small groups and we're going to have you explore the Facebook ad library to go behind the scenes to examine these questions. What kind of personalized propaganda can be found? And what are the pros and cons of personalized propaganda? So give me a thumbs up if you've been to the Facebook library before and are familiar with this powerful tool. Anybody ever been to the Facebook library before? Okay, so here we go. We're going on a journey. We're going to the Facebook ad library, and you can see that the ad library provides advertising transparency by offering a comprehensive searchable collection of all ads currently running across Facebook apps and services, including Instagram. Of course, right now, there's a lot of political ads because get this, $1 billion has been spent on political advertising. Think of what we could do with that money in education if we had it. Oh my God. Or if, like the Europeans, we used a sensible process of electing people that was 3 months or 6 months long instead of 4 years, right? But be that as it may, let's just say you might want to search for ads by any keyword or advertiser name. I'm going to search on something I really love, the piano. And you might say to me, Renee, Facebook ads about pianos? What? Okay, so you're looking at my screen, right? And you can see here is a campaign. It says it's not currently active. It just ended a few days ago. And I don't speak Spanish, but I'm going to press this play button. Okay, it says amount spent under $100, potential reach 1,000 people. So this looks like it might be a musician, a small musician or a musical group, and they're promoting their new song. That's awesome. Okay. And I can see a little bit more of that. Here's a lady playing a piano, right? And she's promoting maybe, or she's just expressing herself, but she's paid money to reach an audience. So just to clarify, this is different than just a social post. These are posts where people have paid money to reach an audience, right? And I see some political ads there as well. As I scrolled down and looked on this a little bit earlier, oh, look, there's an arts for Biden and Harris. There's a political ad that probably features music. And then, you know, given that I'm the oldster that I am, my attention was grabbed by this one. This one ran October 9th through October 10th, just for one day. Stevie Nicks, the year was 2008. I was in St. Charles, Illinois. It was cold, it was snowing, it was winter, it was the Democratic primaries, blah, blah, blah. I had a dream, and I guess it turned into.
I don't know if it was 1960 or 1963. Everything was timeless, even me. I wasn't old, I wasn't young, I was just part of their dream. A shadow walked with me down the hall, it was Martin Luther King.
Okay, this is a really interesting song, and notice it says 3 ads use this creative and text. So when I click on it, I can see that under 100 pounds was spent in this. People saw this ad in Ohio, Texas, Tennessee, Indiana, Florida, California, and Illinois. It was mostly old people like me, Stevie Nicks fans, see, men and women, 55 to 64. And the Facebook ad library shows me the other versions that were created, right? So she created 3, or the company created 3 ads, each targeted to different audiences, right? And if I clicked on these, I'd be able to see how specific audiences were targeted. So that's kind of what happens when you look at the Facebook ad library. Because you're a group of educators, I just have to show you one. Again, it's a very powerful discovery tool. Check this one out. Kyle Thorson, sponsored, paid for by friends of Kyle Thorson. What's the difference between a piano and a printer? Now, if that isn't clickbait, that's a clickbait title. Let's take a look.
This is a piano, and this is a printer. Both of these should be able to be plugged in at the same time. But uh-oh, here's a curveball. Today in our Grand Forks public school system, you might have to pick one or the other. This electrical problem is an actual situation at one of our schools, but the examples don't end there. Our teachers are paying out of pocket for their students' school supplies. There are special education facilities that desperately need an upgrade, and our school districts need the infrastructure that will keep our kids safe through COVID.
Wow. Okay, so that's a political campaign. Okay, that's a political campaign, but it really grabbed my attention because it was about pianos, right? And that's what I was exploring. Okay, here's your project. As I put you into groups, you're going to work with a partner. You're going to find an example of personalized propaganda from the Facebook ad library that you want to comment on. Then you're going to compose a slide to share your example and comment on it. We're going to create a collaborative slide deck. It looks like this. Your project is to find an example of personalized advertising that interests you from the Facebook ad library, analyze the data provided. So look at what Facebook tells you about this ad and then make your comment, right? So here's an example of the kind of slide I'd like you to produce. This is just one example as a kind of example of what you can do in a single slide. This is a commentary on the Fearless Patriot masks. The ad was produced by a clothing company called Fearless Patriot that spent more than $100,000 advertising on Facebook. This ad was shown in Texas and California and Florida and Pennsylvania and Ohio and North Carolina and Georgia. Anything unique about that? Anything unique about that group of states? Okay, that's fascinating. And it looks like it was a lot of people all across the grade range. You can see there from the grade band, right? That I'll make that a little bit bigger. So it was mostly men, but younger men, middle-aged men, and maybe not so much older men, right? And it's got things like a 10% off code if you type in Trump 2020. It's now mandatory to wear masks in public in the county of Harris. We've got you covered. Everything is made in the USA. Use code Trump 20. Okay, so this ad ran from May to September. They spent about $1,500. They reached about, I guess if I look at the ad details, if I clicked on that, I'd be able to see exactly how many people they reached. Okay, so I think you understand the task at hand because you're so incredible. Give me a thumbs up if you understand what you're going to do in your small group, working collaboratively with a team. Before I break you up, do you have any questions about this activity? Are there any questions that I can answer for you? What questions do you have?
Where's the Google link?
Oh, great question. So let me share my screen with you and we'll go back to, let's see now. I guess I will, whoops, I have to escape that.
Renee, it's been dropped in the chat too a couple
dropped
times.
in the chat. Julia, have you dropped it in the chat? You have, so it's in the chat, how you get to it. Basically, we're following this protocol here, right? And I'm only going to give you about 8 minutes to work on this. So you're going to have some time to explore. Maybe I'll give you 10 minutes. You'll have time to explore, time to discuss, and then time to create. Use your time well. There's going to be 3 or 4 people in the breakout room. If you're in a breakout room and the people there are not participating, just come back to the main room and I'll reassign you, okay? All right, rooms are open. Have fun. Make a new friend.
Hey, Renee, you muted all participants, including yourself.
Hello. Hello. Thanks for letting me know. Kristen, what would I do without you, girls? The God, can't walk or chew gum at the same time. As we're coming back gradually and slowly, we're talking about what did you like or dislike about this activity? What did you learn? Who wants to go first?
I love this activity. I teach college, and so when I come to conferences, I'm looking also for ways of engagement. So thank you for demonstrating something like that. I love the ability to talk through what this tool was, and we kind of had a little bit of Q&A in our session about that, about what we were actually seeing here, and then the ability to apply something that we just talked about as a group, as a full group.
Thanks for sharing. We're talking about what did you like or dislike about this activity, and what did you learn from your time together? Who's next?
I'll go. I was in group 5 and we looked at shoes because we all like shoes. And it was related, it was a religious advertisement seeking to sway your need to donate money to help give a child their first pair of shoes. And it reached over 1 million people, and they spent around $30,000 on the advertisement. And it generally reached women between the ages of, 55 to 64. It was shown during the holiday season. If you gave a donation, you got ornaments and so forth. So it really played on that religious aspect. We kind of try to read a little bit deeper. So it was, where does the money, I guess one of my questions, and I didn't pose it to the group, I forgot to, is you're donating $100, but where's all the money going to? So if how much money is actually going to shoes? But it was very much, I didn't expect it to reach that many people for only $30,000.
Very nice. Thanks for sharing. I'll hear from one more person. What did you like or dislike about this activity, and what did you learn working with your group members? What insights emerged?
I would like to go next. So I was in a group 7, and we were actually searching the restaurants, and we found one restaurant's act, and it seems like they are trying to get like support from the people that let's help to each other for the local restaurants. We have like a multiple ad for the California version and Seattle one. But when you actually get into their Facebook page, it was more about like politically they are trying to get advocacy for the Congress and all the demands from the people. And then they actually targeted like older audience, from older 45 years old, primarily women. And like I can actually see, I mean, I didn't realize before, but actually if we get into like one step deeper in it, then I realized, oh, like I can see what's going on now. It was interesting.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing. So we only have 1 minute left, so I just want to make 2 points. I think today this activity gives you some insight that helps you recognize that we have this complicated love-hate relationship with algorithmic personalization. And when we teach about algorithmic personalization, I don't think our purpose should be to scare people or make people afraid or point to big bad technology industry, right? I think the genuine critical thinking comes from recognizing that there is a cost and a benefit. There are things we love about algorithmic personalization and things we hate. When I end this activity with my students, I like to go through a series of 4 slides, and these here are in this so what portion of the anytime learning. Why are people concerned about the future of algorithmic personalization? Because of the economic value of the data exhaust, the trail that we leave as we use the internet. So some people acknowledge that the data that we throw off is a form of raw material that is used by capitalists to sell us goods and services and lifestyles and values. Companies are investing heavily in facial recognition to have even more data at their disposal to engage in personalization of entertainment, information, and persuasion. And personalization is an interesting topic because of the way it relates to the idea of human freedom, right? Because we're under the impression that we are free, but algorithmic personalization challenges our understandings of freedom. It creates opportunities for us to reach audiences and address communities, and it also poses some real challenges and hazards for us as individuals and society. So thanks so much for coming to my workshop. I'm really glad that you were there. If you have any other questions, you know how to do that in the slow conversation that we're having on Whova. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Thanks.
Thanks, Renee.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.